Hi everybody and welcome back to the Toon Review YouTube channel for today's Newcastle United news. Quite a bit to get through today, but as usual, if you do enjoy the video, please do give it the thumbs up, as it's very, very important to the channel. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, come and subscribe to a wonderful community here on the Toon Review. It is free to do so, but also hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload such as this one or our future live shows. Right, let's dive straight in because it's been announced this morning that Kieran Trippier wants to leave Newcastle United. And I think the rumours of this have been coming for quite some time now, if we're honest, haven't they? There was rumours that his name had gone off his executive suite at St James's Park. Whatever's gone on in his personal life, he wants to have a change. But the main crux of it all is that he wants first-team football. And he's not guaranteed that anymore at Newcastle United. Now, given his age, you can understand where Kieran is coming from. I certainly, as a Newcastle United fan, don't have a problem with this. I think if he wants to move for first-team football opportunities, then he goes with my blessing. And I'm sure he goes with a lot of Newcastle United fans' blessings as well. He's been an absolute sensation since he signed for us. I know it's only been a short period of time, but we have to look at where Kieran came into the club, what circumstances were around. He was one of the first signings under the new regime, of course. He took a pay cut to join us, and we were in the relegation zone. Yet he was one of the spearhead figures that suddenly grabbed the club by the neck and pulled it out of the doldrums, along with Eddie Howe and the new owners and Amanda, etc. Kieran was a big, big part of that. So I don't think that any Newcastle United fan should forget what Kieran Trippier has done for this club. And for me, very understandable that he wants to go now for first-team football opportunities. And given his age, like I said, it seems like the perfect time. Now, obviously, there is clubs interested. They're believed to be in discussions with Everton on a loan deal. But there is clubs overseas interested in him as well. Atalanta over in Serie A and Galatasaray are two of the clubs interested in him as well. Now, I would expect this to happen quite quickly if anybody is interested in him, given the time that's left in the window. I'm sure Kieran himself will want to get things sorted and organised and get it done. Nobody will want this to drag on, not least the player himself. He will want to move, get into a new opportunity and see out the rest of his career. And like I say, for me as a Newcastle United fan, wish him nothing but the best because he's been an absolute stalwart for Newcastle since he signed. Let's not forget what he's done off the pitch as well. How many times new players had come into the club and who was the first one there to greet the new players? It was always Kieran Trippier, always on that video saying, if you need anything, come and see me. So we will miss him. We will miss his experience both on and off the pitch. But for me, I said it before the season kicked off, of course, that I really do believe that Tino Livramento is the way forward. Now, whether Newcastle United decide to turn to bring another right back in to sort of be second fiddle to Livramento, we will just have to wait and see. There is players at the club who, of course, can play right back. None other than Emil Kraft, who is he's a natural right back, even though he's played a lot for centre back for us. So I do think that they might be looking to bring somebody in, but it won't be a big marquee right back. It'll be somebody as an understudy, I would imagine, for Tino Livramento. But listen, it's always sad when a player leaves like Kieran Trippier because he's such an honest character. He's given his heart and soul to Newcastle United since he's been here. And, you can't have a dig at him for wanting to leave to go and play first-team football, especially at his age, like I say. So he would go with my absolute blessing. Let me know what you think. Do you feel the same as me? Do you think, let him go and say thank you for what you've done for the football club, Kieran? We won't forget it, but we wish you well for the foreseeable future of your career. He's coming to an end. He wants first-team football, rightly so. He's still an England international, let's not forget, and he can get into people's first teams, no doubt about that. But let me know what you think. Are you disappointed that we may see Kieran Trippier leave the club, or do you think it's the right move for him and the club themselves? What we don't want is an unhappy player. Because let's not forget, Saturday against Southampton, he was an unused substitute with 10 men. And you would expect, and we said this on a couple of shows, you would expect that maybe the experience of Kieran Trippier would be something that Eddie Howe could have used against Southampton, and he chose not to. So very interesting for me to see this develop and see where it goes, but I would expect it to happen very quickly if he is to leave. Now, the Guehi deal is ongoing. As I record this video, there is still nothing in the press or released from Palace or Newcastle United saying the deal is done. Of course, Keith Downey said last night that the deal was very close. There was not much between the two sides. I would imagine that this deal gets done simply because Newcastle haven't walked away. If Newcastle United didn't think this deal was going to happen, then I don't think Newcastle would still be sitting around the table discussing the transfer. So I think it gets done now. I've gone from 50-50 to 80% certain that this gets done, given what the reports are saying, given that the two sides are close. I think the player himself wants the move, although he's never stated that. You sort of get the feeling that the player would love to play for Newcastle and be part of whatever's going to happen in the future for Newcastle United, as for playing in Europe and winning things. I don't know whether we've spoken to the player yet. Obviously, once the deal is done, then we can officially move in on Guehi himself and get it all tied up. But again, once this deal is done and accepted, I would expect it to get finalised very, very quickly. Again, given the time that's left in the window, Newcastle don't want to take a risk of letting this drag on for days and days. Apparently, I've read this morning that Newcastle United put a deadline on tomorrow for Palace to accept the deal or not. That we will just have to wait and see on, because, you know, the way Palace have been throughout this, you never know what they're going to come out and say next. But apparently, if you believe a lot of the media, what they're saying, and listen, it's not backstreet media here, it's mainstream who are reporting that they're very close. Listen, Guehi will be a fantastic signing, right? I've said this all along. Whether we agree with the transfer fee or not, you know, let's be honest, it's a brilliant, brilliant signing for Newcastle United. He's a very good player. He's still rusty, in my opinion. He's still got things that he needs to iron out, but there is nobody better than Eddie Howe to help him iron those little errors that he's got in his game. He played for Palace at Brentford at the weekend. He didn't look too good, did he? At all, if we're being fair. However, maybe his head is elsewhere at the minute, and I think it was a bit naive of Palace to make him captain as well and throw him in when all this is still going on. But he's a professional. He went out and he did his best. But I think Marc Guehi will be a Newcastle United player before the end of the window. Now, a couple of players that we are particularly looking at. This one is a bit of a head scratcher for me because I don't understand why. And again, you know, I'll explain why. Apparently, we are looking at Olympiacos holding midfielder Santiago Hees. Now, Hees himself he won the Europa League last year with Olympiacos, so he's very experienced already. He's only 22, but obviously winning the Europa League, he's got that European experience that we all cry out for. We all want in our squads and things like that. However, he's a holding midfielder. Now, obviously, we know that Bruno is the holding midfielder for Newcastle. Tonali can play there as well. So where would Hees fit in? I'm not so sure. And, you know, again, there's a lot of players linked to Newcastle United, but in positions that are really baffling. I don't see the point of bringing in another midfielder. I don't think that is a position that we need to fill this window. You know, that's just my opinion as a fan. I've heard other fans say the same. Why are we looking at midfielders? Surely the centre-back and right-wing positions are the positions that we really need to look at. There's no fee in the report. It just stipulates that Newcastle United could be interested in bringing him in. Now, whether this is one to bring in and loan out, I don't know, and see how he progresses. But he is 22 now, so he has played European football and everything, so he is very experienced. But for me, I just think it's a bit of a head-scratcher, guys. I really do. Now, finally, Raheem Sterling, as we know, is heading out the door at Chelsea. Now, there's been talk of Newcastle United being interested, but there is other teams as well. There's been, I've read somewhere this morning that Manchester United could be interested in doing some sort of swap deal with cash for Sancho. Who knows? However, from Newcastle's part, the report that I read stated that we could look at a very similar loan deal to what brought Lewis Hall to Newcastle United last season. Now, I know that Raheem Sterling's wages are absolutely extortionate. They are extortionate. And Newcastle United will simply not pay those wages. So, look, valuation-wise, Newcastle United could have time to discuss a transfer fee with Chelsea if they have the loan first. That will give them a whole season to discuss with Chelsea what they're going to do. And it would also enable Chelsea to probably pay some of Raheem Sterling's wages should we loan him. That would probably be an option that Newcastle would be looking at, because I think he's on about 300 and odd grand a week. It's mental. However, wages could be a problem. It's, you know, when you're looking at the elite players, and I'm not saying Raheem Sterling's an elite player anymore, but is he better than what we've got on the right-hand side right now? Absolutely. My opinion is, yes, he's better than Miggy. He's better than Jacob Murphy. Miggy is still in the mud as to what's going to happen with him. Still, again, plenty time in the transfer window. There is 8 days left. So, you know, if a bid came in for Miggy, £15 million is what apparently Newcastle are looking for, he could go. But that right-hand side for me needs improved before the window close. I think there is a lot of Newcastle United fans feel exactly the same way, that we do need to get a right winger in. But who will it be? Is it going to be, are we going to make a late bid for Mbeumo or someone like that? Or bring a player like Raheem Sterling in on loan, which then gives us a season to discuss a full-time transfer? He's 29, Raheem Sterling, so his transfer fee for me shouldn't be that high, especially as he hasn't really set the world on fire since he moved to Chelsea, but that's not particularly his fault. There's a lot of Chelsea players struggled under the carnage that has been Chelsea Football Club in the last couple of years. But it's an interesting one. It certainly is an interesting one to keep an eye on. But as I say, wages could be a major problem. But there you go. We have a live show tonight. We do have the Bournemouth preview, and we will bring you any breaking news that comes out in Newcastle United between putting this video up, obviously, and the live show. But we will definitely be looking at the game against Bournemouth on Sunday, which is going to be a cracker, a difficult game. What will Eddie Howe do? What team lineup? What tactics? Score predictions? Join us all for that at 7 o'clock. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Please do give it the thumbs up. And of course, if you're new, do subscribe. It is free to do so. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload or a live show. But thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Take care.